This actually didn't take very long to do, but it's a stunning hairstyle tutorial to go with the look that I did last week. So taking the hair and sectioning it off from ear to ear. There's no precisity to this, however much you take, just make sure it's the same all the way around. And then taking out the crown and just backcombing that a little bit and on the onset right now. You can do this a little bit later if you want, but I decided to do it now. Backcombing and with my Tangle Teaser backcomb brush, and then I'm going to spray that and pop that off to the side. Just spraying it now, popping it off in the opposite direction. It will dry and harden and will give me some instant root left. Then taking the rest of the hair, making it into a ponytail. I'm not going to put a band around it. I'm just going to put some hair clips and lock them in place, crossing them over one over the other. I mean, this is the first time I'm using the Silver Crin hairspray. It's like glue, but it's amazing. Add as many as you need for that to be secure. Make sure you get right to the edges towards the ear, otherwise it will start pulling out from the bottom. Give it a little spray at the roots as well, on the clips, as well as where the back comb is going to go, and then just tease that in not long strokes, but not short strokes either. You don't want it too packed in there, but you don't want it too loose either. And then give that another spray just to harden off, using your fingers to bring it all together, and so that none of the back comb comes out there. Smoothing it down, and then we're going to roll it up from the ends. Give it another brush if you feel like the hair ends are not smooth. Mine are. So just rolling that around my fingers, keeping a good grip on it. You can see I'm using the length of my fingers on both sides to hold that roll in place. Then using my thumb on one hand to keep that there while I pin it on one side, and then I'll pin it on the other side, and always pinning inside the roll so that you don't see any hairpins at all. In fact, I'm quite particular about not seeing hairpins when you're doing hairstyles. Maya was very interested in her phone and she kept moving ahead as usual, but I'm telling her to give it a good shake so I can see that that is not loose at all. The hairstyles that I do, the reason they're sprayed so much is because they have to be Bhangra worthy. And what I mean by that is that most of my clients are going to weddings and then wedding receptions thereafter. There's a hell of a lot of dancing until maybe 1 AM, 2 AM, so I need to make sure these styles don't move. Just using my thumbs and fingers to kind of create a little C shape, tiny one, not a big one, enough to suit her face shape. So you can make it bigger if you've got like a different head shape as such. And again, you can modify with this with curls and all sorts on top. I've done this style so many times, but what I'm showing you there is I'm using my fingers to create a gap in between, using my fingers to hold down, and I'm pulling out, oh that's my phone, pulling out the hair in between. And what that does is only pulls out what you need to pull out and holds the rest down, so you haven't got a messy bun as such. It's kind of messy but not, if that makes any sense to you. So only pulling out where I want it to, and holding the rest down creates kind of like a dimension and a little depth in between there. Guys, do you like this 4K quality? It's insane how crisp this picture is. Make sure if you've got 4K to watch it in 4K, if you've got 4K TV. You can leave this smooth, by the way, you don't have to pull it out. It's just this whole texture thing is really in right now, so I'm doing that. Maya was like, make sure you pull some bits out, and just spraying that down to hold it in place. I'm using my fingers while the spray is still wet to kind of smooth down and paste down the flyaways. And look at her taking selfies on her phone. Taking down that center of the crown there that I sprayed and put away. I'm just going to run my brush through it to smoothen everything out, and make sure that the back comb doesn't create a little bump, making sure it's nice and back comb but rounded all the way. And then I'm going to sort of drape this over to one side, so you'll see me pinch it at the base there and then throw it over to one side. On this side it's on the left hand side. And then I'm going to start picking these bits up as well while I'm using my other hand to hold down the rest of the hair so it doesn't all pull up. You don't want to hold it down too tight while you're doing this. You do want the hair to pick up as well. And as I go along, I'll spray. Sometimes I pin it if I don't feel like it's defined enough. Look at that mehndi stain on my fingers. So just putting a little clip there for now, just to hold it while I decide what I'm going to do with the rest of it. I'll make these up as I go along. And usually it's the outfit that helps me decide what style to do. The neckline, you know, and how the person actually holds themselves as well. Using that same technique again, creating little ribbons. And I did this all the way through. I think I've cut this just to stop you from being bored, but I've done it all the way around. And there's those clips going in just to separate them while the hairspray hardens off. And then with the tail, I spray this down, and I spray it a lot so that it's like glue. I want it not to be it's quite a thick piece. I don't want it to bounce out, and I want it to hold. And her ends here are a little bit dry from where she's had her hair bleached. I'm rolling it in my fingers, and then I'm going to pin that into the end of that roll there. Again, pinning in the inside so you don't see any hairpins. If you want to see more hairstyle tutorials, guys, please let me know in the comments box and I'll know to do more. I'm not sure if you guys are still around, and I don't know who my audience are right now. I just feel like the people who used to follow me from 10 years ago have moved on, you know, with their lives, and YouTube isn't such a huge part of it anymore. And I kind of feel like I have myself been very ad hoc with my tutorials, especially my hairstyle ones, and I want to do more of them, but I need to know that you guys want to see them, because it is, you know, a lot of effort. It's 2 or 3 people, and if you get something out of it, then it's worth doing it. It's taking out the other side, back combing. I used a makeup brush there just to smooth down the flyaways over the ear. It's just small enough, and it catches really nicely. Then using my finger to pull a little bit down to create a little drape so that it's not too pasted back. And then where I've got my other hand holding it down while I pull out the drape, I then twist that edge. When I'm ready, I'll twist it so that it forms ribbons. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Just pasting down those flyaways even more. And as that brush goes up, can you see there's that little ribbon there? So I'm going to define those ribbons even more by pulling up and spraying down and pulling up and smoothing down until it forms a little, almost like a little petal, I guess, and then spraying that to hold. And can you see the twist underneath that? That's already creating 2 more ribbons, which I will also pull up and create these little petals. And these just happen randomly as you're working. You know, you don't set one there. It's just you've got to work with how the hair's flowing when you're doing a particular style. At least that's how I do it. I can't envisage a hair and do it exactly as is unless there's a picture, because everyone's hair is different. The volume, the amount, the way it's falling. You just got to modify things. Your client might say, I want these waves, and you've got to find a place that they fall naturally for them to fit into, if that makes any sense. You guys got to tell me if that makes sense at all. And then just tucking the tails away, incorporating like the middle of it into that ripple bun that I've made so that it looks like it's part of it. So pretty. And then taking the other end of it. Look at her, a beautiful baby. Don't forget, I've done a tutorial on this makeup look. You have to check it out. It's really, really beautiful. And obviously that jewelry piece is a set from my online store. and I'll put a link in the description bar below if you wanted to see these, and they're kind of set with Swarovskis. So taking this edge now, and I'm twisting it and twisting it back. You can drape it if you like. I decided I wanted to twist it for a little bit more embellishment. I'll turn her around in a second so you can see. And if you guys see yellow bands across Maya's face, it's actually the tungsten lighting that we're using that creates this ripple of light that goes up and down over the screen. So pin that to place, then taking the tail and pinning that out of the way as well, pulling up just to create more texture and trying not to cover that little curl that I did. Pinning that down, and I think we're done. All she needs to do is get those pins pulled out of her hair, which I'll do in a second, and give her a little twirl. Mustn't forget the tikka. Normally I would kind of really paste this down and then glue it, but because it was just for a tutorial and we were taking this off straight away, she literally took photos and then that's it, took them off. So this is the look done. I really hope you liked it. Please subscribe and I'll see you soon. Bye.